Amid this battle, we've got governors from already highly gerrymandered states threatening to redraw their maps if Texas goes through with this redistricting. And Democrat strategist James Carville has a prediction for Dems' next move if they were to win big in 2028.
If the Democrats win the presidency, the Senate, and the House in 2028, which is not impossible. I don't know if you say likely or possible. I don't know what word but it's certainly not impossible. They are just going to have to unilaterally add Puerto Rico and the District of Columbia states.
Wow. So, Rick, Puerto Rico and Washington, D.C. as states. He also talked about packing the Supreme Court. This is an interesting one from Carville. Do you think it's wise?
Well, I don't think it's wise, but it's exactly what I think they're going to do. I have no doubt that if the Democrats take control of everything again, Chuck Schumer, whoever the leader of the Democratic Party is in the Senate's been the holdup for they've been wanting to do this for a long time, not just pack the court, but change the filibuster rule. And if they change the filibuster rule, that means they only need a simple majority of the United States Senate to add Puerto Rico as a state, to add D.C. as a state, to change all the voting rules in the United States, to pass what used to be H.R. 1, the John Lewis Voting Act, and probably worse, to adopt California standards for the entire country, and then pack the court. Because if you do those things, particularly the Voting Rights Act and some other things that I'm sure they'll do to solidify power in Washington, they're gonna need a Supreme Court that's going to be more flexible for their point of view. You probably see this little button here called Convention of States. One of the reasons I've been a big supporter of Convention of States because I believe that's what they're going to do. And if we don't come together as states and have a convention to propose at least one amendment, which is limiting the Supreme Court to 9 members, that to me is the most important constitutional amendment we could probably pass right now, because it would stop a lot of bad things that are going to happen, and not 20 years from now. I'm talking, as James Carville said, 4 years from now from happening.
Yeah, Rick, I mean, to that point, I think you got ahead of me a little bit. So obviously we've been talking a lot about the president's 200 days and the 1,261 days that he still has left. There's so much work to be done, so much winning. But I wanted to ask you, what is the one thing you still want him to do, as opposed to talking about what he's already done? Let's put your number one thing on the wish list. I was going to guess balanced budget amendment, but you may have just said the other one.
Well, it's going to be the president has no role in amending the Constitution. It's up to the Congress. The Congress, 2/3 of the House, 2/3 of the Senate have to propose amendments, or 2/3 of the states have to call a convention for which they can then propose amendments to the Constitution. And then all constitutional amendments have to go through the process of 38 state legislatures have to ratify. It's a very hard process. So I don't think a constitutional amendment really is the issue, but more of a focus. And if president wants to lower interest rates, the best way to do that is to reduce the federal budget deficit and trying to get some controls on federal spending. He's done a great job with taxes. Now he needs to focus on how they can shrink the size and scale of the federal government. He's done a good job, Department of Education. He's done a good job on foreign aid, but there's a lot of meat on that bone yet, or a lot of fat on that body for him to cut.
Yeah, well, real quick, we're still learning about Joe Biden's administration and what he didn't achieve, but he also didn't participate, as you might recall, that in that 2024 Super Bowl interview, which many are saying it was because he was dealing with the Hur report, and they apparently made the choice before the report was released, and it was because they thought the coverage would be about the classified records and not his policy. So, rhetorical question here, but your reaction to all of this, because do we ever see accountability from the Biden administration? And this is a new development with respect to that Super Bowl interview.
Yeah, I think we've sort of seen accountability in the sense that I don't think there's any question in the American public's mind that, number one, Joe Biden wasn't competent to be president of the United States at the time, and that everybody in his administration colluded to make sure that that was not out, and that the media colluded to tell a different story. We can provide more information. I don't think there's anybody in America who pays any attention who doesn't believe that already. I think driving the point home, while it may be gratifying to the people who are doing it, I'm not too sure there's much more political ground to gain here, and I sort of doubt that there's any real criminal charges to be levied here. So I'm not saying move on, but I'm not saying there's a whole lot of gain here in staying on this topic.
Just legacy. It's all about his legacy.
True.
Yeah,
well, I feel
think that's
validated.
Pretty cemented, Mark.
Yeah.
I feel validated. We talked about it at the time, and now it all makes sense again. Rick Santorum, thank you for joining us. Great to have you.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.